Hey vinyl community, Mr. Rick here once again. Hope everybody's doing good. I know I am. Any better and I couldn't stand it. It's getting warm around here. It's time to start playing in the garden. I got the garden plowed and I'm ready to throw taters in. But that's beside the point. That's not why we're here. I thought we'd take a look at the albums I've got of Frank Sinatra this week. Let me show you the pile. Oh, there's a bunch of them. And I thought we'd go through them chronologically and take a look at some of old Frank's releases from the past, 60, 70 years. What do you say? I'm a big Sinatra fan. I love Frank. I'll be honest with you. I used to tell people when I got off from work, I'm going to go home, pour myself a glass of bourbon, and put on some Frank. And they'd say, Frank? And I'd say, Sinatra, man. Anyway, let's get started. This one came out, actually came out before 1955. It was on 78 RPM for years. But it was the first LP in 12-inch that came out. And this is The Voice, of course, and it's got all his old stuff from the Columbia years. I guess the biggest one, there's Laura and Fools Rush In, Over the Rainbow, that old Black Magic. A lot of his old 78 RPMs, but this album sold really good back in the day. But by 1956, he had gone to Capitol. He went to Capitol in 1953. And this is a compilation. This is Sinatra, and this is from 1956. And this has got, I got The World on the String, Three Coins in the Fountain, Love and Marriage, and a lot of other hits that he had back in the day. And this is a reissue from 1956. This is Sinatra. Then from the following year, 1957, this is a reissue that was put out by Columbia. Originally it was put out by Columbia and it was called Christmas Dreaming, but it's got his early stuff on it from the Columbia years. White Christmas, Little Town of Bethlehem, you know, all the standards. And there's the back of that one. It's, like I said, it's a reissue. It's not the original. But like I said, he was with Capitol. And in 1957, here is A Swingin' Affair. A good album. I'm trying to think of the hit off of this, but I don't see it. It's got A Lonesome Road and I Won't Dance, and Night and Day, I think, was the hit off of it. I'm not sure. But there's A Swingin' Affair from 1957. Also from 57, here is Close to You. This album is really dreamy. It's real slow, and it's real... it's an intimate look at Sinatra. And it's a lot of slow lullaby tunes and all that. You know, Close to You, I think, was the hit that he had off of this one. Also in 57, he put out A Jolly Christmas with Frank Sinatra. And of course, this was a lot more better than the other one because it was a lot jazzed up and a lot better recording, and it sounded better too. And I think Jingle Bells was the hit off of this one. He does a good job on that, and there's the back of that one. Then we climb up to 1958, and this was a hit album called Come Fly With Me with Billy May in his orchestra, and Frank in his Jonic Romantic Vest. And he did a lot of good songs, Autumn in New York, April in Paris, The Isle of Capri, and Blue Hawaii. And this is a good album. I enjoy listening to this album a lot. Come Fly With Me, there's Frank from 58. Also from 58, of course, Columbia was still releasing all his early stuff. And this is this is Capitol, excuse me. This is Capitol. This is another one of those dreamy albums with Nelson Riddle in the orchestra. And he sings for Only the Lonely. And it's got Only the Lonely, Blues in the Night, Ebb Tide, Spring is Here, What's New, and several others. And there's the back of that one. That's another one of those dream ones. Here are the Columbia recordings from 1958. Put Your Dreams Away, which is a lot of his early stuff from the 40s up into the early 50s. And they're good recordings. I love his Columbia stuff just as much. I mean, his Capitol stuff was better, but I still like his Columbia stuff. I like a lot of just about everything. This is Love Is a Kick. This is another compilation of his early stuff that they put out, and this one's got Bim Bam Baby on it. And the story behind Bim Bam Baby is that Frank Sinatra hated that tune. Mitch Miller at that time was his producer, and he forced Frank to record that record. And Frank hated that song, and he refused to sing it at his concerts. And that was toward the end of his Columbia career with Columbia Records. But that's got Bim Bam Baby on it. That's the story I heard about that. We go back to the Capitol years of 1959. Here is No One Cares. And this is with Gordon Jenkins and his orchestra. And there's just a lot of he was singing a lot of slow stuff back then, I guess. Stormy Weather, Where Did You Go, I Can't Get Started, several others. But it's a good, nice sound when you're by yourself or something. It's real slow. In 59, more of his Columbia stuff. Come Back to Siriano, and a lot of his hits, Day by Day, Luna Rosa, I Hear a Rhapsody, and several others. This is from 1959. And this is from 59, more of his Capitol stuff, Come Dance With Me. And this again was with Billy May. And this is a good album also. These tunes are jazzed up and they sound really good. Come Dance With Me's on it, and Dancing in the Dark. Saturday Night is the Loneliest Night of the Week, a re-recording of that. And a lot of other good stuff. And there's the back of Come Dance With Me with Billy May in the orchestra from 59. And another from Capitol from 59. This is Look to Your Heart, which is another good intimate singing of him. Look to Your Heart is the hit. Gosh, If I Had Three Wishes is on here. Same Old Saturday Night. And it's back of 19. Then we cruise up to 1960. Ring-a-Ding-Ding. This is a very good album. This is Sinatra and Johnny Mandel. I never heard of Johnny Mandel conducting an orchestra, but evidently Sinatra believed in him, and he behind the music on this one. Ring-a-Ding-Ding is a good song, and it's just a bunch of good songs. The Coffee Song is on here, and You and the Night and the Music, and just some more typical good-sounding Sinatra there from 1960. Then in 61, he decided to put out his swinging session. And this album is alright. It swings, but it's not as good as I consider Frank. I mean, it's got a lot of old songs on it that he puts a swinging touch to. They really weren't swinging songs, but he readapts them and puts a swing to them. That's Sinatra, the Swinging Session. Then Capitol put out the compilation. This is called All the Way. This is from 1961. And this is basically another greatest hits album. I mean, it's got High Hopes and all the songs that weren't released on the albums. Talk to Me, French Foreign Legion, All the Way, Old MacDonald. These are tracks that didn't make the albums. They released as singles. And it's a good listen also. There's the back of it. And we cruise up to 1962, and Sinatra sings of love and things. And I think this is also a compilation album that Capitol released. And it's got a lot of good songs on it. The Nearness of You, Hidden Persuasion, The Moon Was Yellow, and several others. But this is a compilation album from the folks at Capitol. Here's another compilation album. This came out in 1962. The jacket's a little worn on this one. It was wet. But this is Sinatra and Swing. Excuse me, this is not a compilation album. This is Sinatra and Strings, and it's arranged by Don Costa. He and Sinatra were good friends. And a lot of old standards on here. Prisoner of Love, That's All, Stardust, Come Rain or Come Shine, and several others. And there's the back of that one from '62. Then in '63, he started Reprise Records. Sinatra started Reprise. He was the one that, he was tired of working for record companies and not getting his way, so he said, I'll start my own record company, and he did. He started Reprise Records, but unfortunately he couldn't afford to keep it up because he didn't have enough artists. He coaxed Dean Martin to come along, Sammy Davis Jr. had come along, and several others, but it was a little too much for him to handle, so he sold it to Warner Brothers, I think around 1964. But this is one of the first Reprise albums that he put out, Sinatra, and it's basically a lot of his old hits that he's re-recorded with Nelson Riddle. And there's the back of that one, in 1963. Okay, we cruise up to 1964. This is the Great Hits of Frank Sinatra, a compilation album. This was released on Capitol, and there are a lot of his old hits from the 50s and into the early 60s, and a good compilation album. It's good listen. Of course, a lot of his stuff is great. Then Beatles put out like Beatles 65, so Sinatra put out Sinatra 65, and he recorded Tell Her You Love Her was the hit off of it, and My Kind of Town was also a hit off of it. When Somebody Loves You, Somewhere in Your Heart, those were all hits for him back in 1965. And Sinatra 65, and there's the back of that one. And then we come up to this is another compilation album from Capitol. Sinatra Sings the Select Cole Porter, and these are arranged and conducted by Nelson Riddle. And a lot of his hits, I Got You Under My Skin, Night and Day, all the songs that were popular by Cole Porter. And there's the back of that one. And also in 65, September of My Years. September of My Years was the hit on it. And this was the one that it was a very good year also. That was a big hit for him. And September Song was another hit off of this album. And it's a very good album. It's got a lot of good sounds on it. And it was arranged and conducted by Gordon Jenkins. September of My Years. And from '66, That's Life. This was another hit. I mean, he was making not his second stride, he was making his third stride of popularity. And he just stayed popular all through those years. And there are very few artists that can do that. But That's Life was the big one. And Somewhere My Love was also another hit for him. And Give Her Love and Tell Her You Love Her Each Day. Several hits for him off of this album. This also was a very good album to listen to. That's Life from 1966. That was a good year for him also, because he also released Strangers in the Night. This had The Summer Wind on it, All or Nothing at All. What else is it? Most Beautiful Girl in the World. And this was also arranged and conducted by Nelson Riddle. Nelson Riddle, I can't say enough about it. He was a great orchestra leader, and he made a lot of hit records for Frank Sinatra. Then this is another compilation album from 1967 by Capitol. Nevertheless, I'm in Love with You. And it's just a bunch of old recordings that they threw together. I don't even know much about this album other than it's just a bunch of Sinatra songs. But it's a compilation album for sure. Then the Greatest Hits came out in 1968. There's his first volume. Strangers in the Night, Summer Wind, Very Good Year, Something Stupid with Nancy Sinatra, That's Life, all the great records from the 60s. As you can see, we've had this album a long time. I wrote all over it when I was a kid, and this was actually my father's album that he bought way back. And this one also was one of my father's albums. This was Cycles. And that's one of my Frank Sinatra favorites, is Cycles. I don't know why I like that tune so much, but when I put everything in the top 10 category, Cycles is right up there. It's just a good song, and I enjoy listening to it. I can't say this is a great album. It's just a bunch of hits that were hits for other people, more or less. And Cycles is about the only hit off of it. Wandering, I think, maybe hit the charts, but there's the back of 1968 Cycles. Then we come up to 72, and they released the Greatest Hits Volume 2 on Reprise. And this one's got My Way, and Cycles is on it, and I'm Not Afraid, Go Into My Head, Something, September of My Years, and another good compilation of Frank's hits. Then the next one I have is from 1974. This is a live album, that the Main Event Live, and it's he's introduced more or less by Howard Cosell, who does a tribute to him before the concert begins, and it's a good concert. He sings a lot of his hits, and it's a good listen also. I enjoy listening to that once in a while. In 1984, L.A. Is My Lady. This is by Quincy Jones. L.A. Is My Lady, I guess, is the hit off of it. By 1984, he was pretty much on the downside, but he was still producing. And not a bad album. There's a picture of Quincy Jones right there. And this is produced, this is called Frank Sinatra, A New Gold Disc. And this is manufactured in the Philippines by Black Gold Records Corporation. And it's basically just another compilation of Frank's records throughout the years of the Columbia and the Capitol stuff. I don't know how they got a hold of all that, or how much they had to pay to produce this album. But anyway, it's nothing but a compilation album, and it says right on it it's imported for England. And there we have it. I've meant to get the CDs out from Frank Sinatra and Friends, but I forgot those. Those came out in the 90s. He produced 2 albums. Actually, the story behind that, I understand, is that when Reprise wanted to do the recordings of Frank Sinatra and Friends, Frank told them basically, I go into the studio by myself, I'll record them, and then you have the people come in after I've gone, and you can do all your stuff that you want to do with these recordings. And that's the way they, because there are people that are singing with them, like Aretha Franklin, and some of these singers are just screaming. And if you know anything about Frank Sinatra, he would not have tolerated that. But they took his vocals, and then they took the singers, and they recorded them in back of him, and that's Frank Sinatra and Friends. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll get together again if I can think of something else that I like to show you, or maybe you have something you'd like me to show you. Leave me a comment at the bottom. I always appreciate those, and I appreciate you all. I watch you all's videos also. A lot of them. There are a lot of people in the vinyl community around the world. I tell you, there's always new people that you can't, you'll never watch them all, because there's just too many of us. But of the ones that I do watch, especially the ones that come out of this country, I appreciate all of you, and I get ideas from all of you also. So until we meet you again, this is Mr. Rick saying, and if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise, we'll see you before long.